Hello friends, and welcome to today's project of making Orange and Polenta Cake. This cake is super moist. Ah yes, one of my favorite words. And I'll show you how to make this cake look sexy, another one of my favorite words. This is totally gluten-free and it can also be dairy-free, but today I will be using butter because I like butter. Speaking of butter, I have here some proudly but unsalted butter. Do not get, I repeat, do not get the unproud version. This is currently hard because it came from the shop in the cold section. I'm going to take a plate and soften the butter in the microwave just for about 30 seconds. Don't worry if there is a small pool of liquid butter. We just want the majority of it to be soft to the touch, like this. Next, take your mixing bowl and place in 540 grams of softened butter. Remember when I said this could be dairy-free? You can sub the butter for margarine or vegetable spread. After that, pour in 600 grams of caster sugar. The next thing you will need is a microplane or a fine zester. We need about 30 grams worth of orange zest. Because these are rather big oranges, it only takes about 2 large ones to get about 30 grams. Make sure you get every bit of the zest. After the zesting process, we're going to measure out the secondary flavor to this cake, which is 10 grams of vanilla bean paste. Orange and vanilla are great friends. Don't use too much, because at the end of the day, I want the orange flavor to come out more. The vanilla is just there to complement the fruity nature of this cake. We need to beat the mixture, so use your paddle attachment. If you happen to have a paddle attachment with some silicone scrapers, even better. Otherwise, you will have to scrape the bowl from time to time. The silicone scrapers will just help to ensure an even mixture while getting beaten. Let that go for a couple of minutes on medium to low speed. We want to beat the mixture until it becomes lighter in color. Next thing to do is to crack 400 grams worth of room temperature eggs, or about 8 eggs. I am basing the weight of an egg at about 50 grams per egg. Pour 1 to 2 eggs at a time into the mixing butter mixture. Let that incorporate. It will take about 4 minutes. Once all the eggs are in, you can stop the mixing process. Don't worry if it looks like it has split. The next items on the list will help it make it come together. Measure out 600 grams of ground almonds. Then the next thing you will need is fine polenta or cornmeal. Pour in 300 grams. Then to help the mixture, measure out 3 grams of baking powder. You don't have to sieve it, but make sure you give it a good mixing with a whisk to break up any lumps and to disperse the baking powder into the mixture. Now, back onto the butter and egg mixture. Pour in the polenta mixture in spoonfuls at a time. Continue the mixing process until all of the polenta mixture has been incorporated at a medium to low speed. It will become thicker and in uniform. The next thing we need for the mixture is some liquid preparation. Remember the oranges I zested from earlier? I need some juice, but I want to show you something. I am going to cut the orange in half. The orange itself looks delicious and bright. It's very, very juicy. But the juice is faint, and I'm going to have a taste. That's a very weak orange. So, what I have done is gone and bought processed orange juice. The reason for this is because I want consistency in flavor. The juice will always taste the same, pretty much all year round. In making a product like this, I want it to always be the same and not rely on a great tasting orange unless you can get a hold of some confirmed great tasting oranges. Just look at the color and body of the store-bought 100% orange juice. After having a sip, I can already confirm with you that it tastes more flavorful than the one on the left. Measure out 120 grams of orange juice. This cake is an orange version. If you're going to make a different citrus version, measure out lemon juice, or grapefruit juice, or lime juice. The choice is yours. Also, to add more kick, I'm going to be using some orange blossom water. This is to add dimension in the orange flavor. I'm going to have a taste, a pure taste. Ugh. I didn't expect that. That was powerful. Very powerful. Oh.
I can't wait when it's finally mixed in together.
I'm only adding 15 grams of this. I expected a kick, but boy, was that a kick in the face. It's very powerful stuff. On a side note, you can even use orange alcohol such as these. You can also use cordial or syrup to adjust your orange flavor. Just remember, consistency is why I'm using these instant products. Now take half of the batter and place it in a large bowl. Pour in half of the orange juice mixture and fold that in. Then place the remaining batter in. After that, add in the rest of the juice. Fold again until things are well combined. I also like to put on a pair of gloves and give it a couple of finger folds. While this is happening, the polenta is getting hydrated from the orange juice mixture. The reason why I am mixing by hand at the very end is so that I am able to feel if the mixture is well combined and to check the consistency of the mixture. Once the mixture feels well mixed, transfer it into a piping bag. Sadly, I ran out of piping bags, so I'm using an IKEA Ziploc bag as a piping bag. If you have neither, you can use an ice cream scoop. I'll be filling a silicone mold for baking. The molds that I'm using measure 6 centimeters from the bottom and about 7 centimeters from the top. The internal depth is about 5 centimeters. Take your time when filling the molds. Leave a few millimeters from the top. Then take a spoon with some water or orange juice and flatten the top. Doing this will help in an even baking process. Otherwise, you will get a little mountain at the very top. Place it in an oven set at 165 degrees Celsius for about 25 minutes to start. My oven is fan assisted from the back. You can always add more time later. After a few minutes, watch them create a nice dome. In the meantime, while that is baking, fill the rest of your mold while you wait. Once the timer goes off, I'm going to check on the cake. I had to add about 5 more minutes. Let's stab your cake with a temperature probe. 2 reasons why I use a temperature probe. I use the metal part like a cake tester to check if the cakes have dried up inside. And also, when I'm using a temperature probe, I'm able to check the internal temperature, and when it reaches more than 95 degrees, you know the cakes are done. They look nice and golden brown. Take them out of the oven and let them cool down at room temperature. Now just repeat with the rest of your molds. Once the cakes have totally cooled, place them in your freezer. Yes, place them in your freezer. Overnight is best. This helps for 2 reasons. The first reason is to freeze the moisture and to lock it in until you need your cake, because the longer you leave it out at room temperature, the drier it will get. The second most important reason is to help in the demolding process. I will show you what I mean in a moment. The cakes are super soft and moist. If you try to demold them from the silicone mold, you could damage the cake if they are not hard. This has been sitting in the freezer overnight. This is now super hard and it comes out clean from the mold with little to no effort. Minimal crumbs are left behind. If you didn't freeze the cake, this is what happens. You could end up destroying the sides. Place them back in the freezer until you are ready to decorate. Of course, if you are not going to decorate on the same day, place them in an airtight container to prevent them from getting freezer burn. On a side note, you don't have to make them so big. You can make little ones with the same principles. However, for the little ones, I only bake them for about 15 minutes and then check after that. Enjoy them as little treats, or if you want to give them to children for a smaller size. So, let's decorate them. Grab one cake, and with the help of my melon baller or Parisian scoop, I'm going to make a dent in the cake. Do this when the cakes are frozen. Or you could scoop out the middle. The choice is up to you. The next thing I want to show you that will make this cake magical is edible gold luster dust. Very easy to get a hold of, and they're also easy to apply. Make sure you do this over some baking parchment paper. I will be using a fine hair pastry brush. This will help in getting an even coat. Be generous when you dip into the luster powder and then apply with firm pressure. The luster powder will stick to the cake and any extra will drop off. Take your time and apply in a circular motion. This is also easier to do when the cakes are frozen. The cakes will be firm and the crumbs will be less fragile to fall off when you brush the cake. Look at how shiny the cake looks now. This just helps to brighten up the cake. Once you are done, fold the paper and pour back the extra luster powder that had fallen off. To complement the cake even further, since this is an orange cake, I have gotten some sugar-free orange marmalade. I bought this to make things easier, but of course you can make your own marmalade. Notice the jelly-like consistency. I like a firm marmalade or jam when doing this project. Remember my Parisian scoop or melon baller? I also have a clicker scoop that's the same size. Fill the scoop and click confidently in the dent that you made earlier. This creates a jam nipple? Sure, I'll use the word nipple. To complement this even further, I have some toasted almond nibs. This will help give the person you are serving the cakes to a clue of the internal ingredient, which were almonds. Now, for the second style of decoration, you can also gold luster your nuts, because who doesn't like some golden nuts? Since we didn't color the cake this time, the shiny nuts can also help attract your guest to sample your cake. Just remember, decorate when frozen, but enjoy at room temperature after about 4 to 6 hours. If you have a dinner party, decorate them at around lunchtime and leave them out at room temperature but covered in a container, and they would be fantastic to enjoy after dinner for your dessert. And there you have it, the big versions. Do the same for the little versions. Use the small side of the Parisian scoop or melon baller. Because I don't have a smaller clicker scoop, I'm going to use the Parisian scoop and a knife to mimic the clicker. Be patient while making nice small dollops of jam. Or in this case, even smaller nipples. And like the big version, decorate with almond nibs.
Even though I do this for work, I was looking forward to assembling this today and having a try. Oh.
I'll be honest with you.
So good.
I had a total of 4 in that moment. There you have it for today. Orange and polenta cake. I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I have while having stuffed my mouth with cake several times.
I'm gonna have another one.
In the meantime, leave a comment about which was your favorite decoration, the one on the left or the one on the right, and what citrus flavor would you try with this recipe. Until next time, it was great seeing you today, and bye for now.